While Bodegas Roda was founded back in 1987, it's already making world-class wines and some of my favorite wines, not just in Rioja, but in all of Spain. Roda was founded by people who had some experience importing very high-end wines, such as Sassicaia, and who thus had very sophisticated palates. So their idea was to produce wine that was made in more of a French style, with an emphasis on the quality of the fruit and less focus on the length of the maturation. And they decided to do this with an emphasis from fruit from old vines. While Bodegas Roda necessarily had to start out quite small, they've been adding to their vineyard holdings over the years, and now they've divided their plots into around 64 different parcels, which they farm sustainably. They also emphasize a sustainable approach in the winery as well. Bodegas Roda now has a total production of around 350,000 bottles annually. During my visit, I was able to sit down and taste through their entire lineup. The first wine that I tried was their entry-level wine, which is called Bodegas Roda Sela. This is a wine that sells for around 18 to 20 euros and around $30, perhaps a bit less, in the United States. This is a wine that's only been produced for around 12 to 15 years or so. This wine is now in extremely high demand as it offers extraordinary quality for this price point. The 2023 vintage that I tried was extremely enjoyable. That wine is 95% Tempranillo and 5% Garnacha. It's a wine that's extremely pleasurable now, and there's no need to wait to enjoy it, but it certainly will age effortlessly for 5 to 6 more years with no problems at all. With respect to its red wines, Bodegas Roda makes 2 different Reservas. Interestingly, they found that some of the fruit in their vineyard produce more of a red fruit profile, whereas some of their older vines, perhaps from higher elevation sites, made wine in more of a black fruit profile. Rather than blending these 2 different styles together, they decided to bottle them separately. And so the Reserva with a red fruit profile is called Bodegas Roda. Meanwhile, the fruit with a darker profile that comes from some of their older vines goes into a wine that's called Bodegas Roda 1. If you're not able to remember which is which, they make it easy for you because all you have to do is look at the capsule. Bodegas Roda has a red capsule and Bodegas Roda 1 has a black capsule. These wines are both Tempranillo dominant, and they sometimes include smaller amounts of Graciano and Garnacha as well. Bodegas Roda matures for around 14 months in 40% new oak, and Bodegas Roda 1 matures for slightly longer in oak, around 16 months or so. Bodegas Roda is slightly less expensive, as that one sells for around 40 euros or around $55 to $60 in the United States. Meanwhile, Bodegas Roda 1 sells for closer to $85 or $90 in the United States. I tried both the 2020 and 2021 vintages of Bodegas Roda. I enjoyed both of them. The 2021 certainly shows a lot of potential and has a little bit more complexity to it. It's definitely one that will improve with some additional bottle age. The 2020 comes from a vintage that's not quite as heralded, but this wine was absolutely delicious. So if you're looking for a wine to enjoy in the near term, I definitely would not hesitate to get the 2020 Bodegas Roda. While I tend to enjoy the Bodegas Roda with less age on it, when it's a little bit more flamboyant and fruity, the Bodegas Roda 1 is definitely capable of extended aging. I still remember trying the 1994 Bodegas Roda 1, and that wine was extremely memorable. When I was at the winery, I tried the 2004 and the 2007 vintages, in addition to the 2019. Despite the fact that the 2007 vintage was panned on release, that wine was showing a little bit better than the highly acclaimed 2004 vintage when I tried it. That's not because the 2004 was disappointing. Rather, I think that with these wines that are produced from very old vines, sometimes it can take some of the wines from the cooler vintages a little bit more in terms of bottle age before they show their best. Back in 1995, Bodegas Roda made a significant discovery. They were harvesting some of the grapes from some of their very old vines, and when tasting some of those grapes, they found that there was a subset of those grapes that tasted more like a Finnish wine. Ultimately, they got the idea to take some of those grapes and make a wine with them. So in 1998, they produced the first vintage of Bodegas Roda, Cirsion. This is a very special wine that's made in only top vintages. The 2021 vintage is the current release, and it's an extremely special wine that I was fortunate to get to taste at the winery. I was surprised to learn that this wine matures only for around 8 months in oak. This wine is extraordinarily elegant, and there's definitely an emphasis on the purity of the fruit. The tannins are silky, and there's a long, refined finish. Really an extremely special, enjoyable wine. Beginning in 2019, Bodegas Roda also started to produce a white wine. This wine is around 90 to 95% Viura, but it comes from an extremely old vineyard that was planted as a field blend, so they're not really positive of the precise variety breakdown. This wine matures for 18 months in 500-liter oak casks, and then another 18 months in bottle before its release. They produce around 25,000 bottles of it per year, and this wine sells for around $90 per bottle. This was definitely an extremely impressive wine and one of my favorite white wines of the trip. I should mention that I tried 2 different vintages, both the 2021 and the 2022, and I did find some stylistic differences, at least with respect to the bottles that I tried. Specifically, I found the 2021 to be a little bit more oxidative in style. In contrast, the 2022 vintage was definitely a little bit more fruit-forward and had less of the oxidative quality to it. I've published a number of other videos on Rioja and Spanish wines generally that I'll link in the description below. But if you'd like to learn more about Priorat, which is another outstanding region in Spain, please be sure to check out this video that's linked above.